Sup gamers, Rainy Potato here to rank all the skills on the Occultist. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, and check out my Patreon in the description for early access to my upcoming videos. Sacrificial Stab is his base melee attack, usable from the front 3 to the back 3, dealing 3 to 6 damage, 4 to 8 on upgrade, with a strong 15% crit, 20% on upgrade. It gives Occultist a power token on combo, and upgrade gives it another power on kill. This is a quite flexible skill with an incredible base crit, though the flat damage is pretty uninspiring, even on his melee path Aspirant. It's also not the most efficient way to gain Empower, and if you're not using any of the Empower skills, it's actually a negative, eating combos and burning you when it hits. Still, it's a staple for my preferred path Aspirant, and the crit is obviously great. Clean fit for the solid tier. Abyssal Artillery, or Ceiling Spaghetti, is a back row AoE usable from the back row, dealing 3 to 6 damage, 4 to 7 on an upgrade, and a chance to combo, with the upgrade increasing combo chance and giving a double stun with 2 Empower tokens. Obviously, just comparing this damage to the previous skill makes this absolutely legendary, scaling even further with his damage path Warlock. The double stun can also come in clutch in a variety of scenarios. Absolutely wipes trash mobs, is very useful against the Act 2 boss, and is just general good output. Even on his melee path, this is a good equip if you're in rank 3. Easy fit for the universally useful tier. Weakening Curse is an any rank to any rank debuff, applying a combo and a weak token, with the upgrade giving combo, 2 weak, and removing crit. It has a 1-turn cooldown. This is a solid if uninspiring combo enabler, and if you're running Ritualist is an enabler and you can even land the weak on high debuff boss foes. For me, I find it most useful in Act 2 to strip crit tokens in cultist fights. Otherwise, it's a bit slow to be considered strong, and Ritualist is probably a cultist's weakest overall path. It's equipped far less than Stab, so it slots behind that skill in the solid tier. Everyone's favorite RNG heal, Wyrd Reconstruction, is usable from any rank to any rank on any hero with health below the 33% threshold, healing between 0 and 33% of max HP, 0 to 50% on upgrade, as well as a 50% chance of applying a 3-point dot, 2 on upgrade, to the target. It is also guaranteed to crit heal with 2 power tokens, which is actually annoying sometimes because you use the power tokens. This is somehow worse than in DD1 with the introduction of thresholds. This needs a much higher threshold to be relevant outside YOLO desperation. I can't really fit it in the trash tier since it goes on most of my bars for emergency purposes, but I don't respect the skill enough to put it any higher than the bottom of the solid tier. I suppose it has some synergy with Runaway Cauterize, but even then the dangerous thresholds make that unreliable at best. Demon's Pull is a single target ranged attack, usable from the back 3 to the back row, dealing 2 to 5 damage, 3 to 6 on upgrade, and pulling the enemy 2 ranks, 3 on upgrade, as well as applying a combo. It clears all corpses, and on upgrade it becomes a stun with 2 Empower tokens. This is an insane skill, doing respectable damage for a utility skill. Again, why does Stab suck so much? Being a much better combo enabler than Weakening Curse with no cooldown, and the pull being majorly disruptive to enemy comps, as well as clearing corpses and occasionally stunning. This goes on any bar. There's never a scenario where I don't equip this masterpiece. It does too much not to slot in the OP tier for me. It's hard to find utility this compelling. Vulnerability Hex is another any rank to any rank debuff, ignoring and removing all dodge stacks from the target and applying a Vuln token, 2 Vulns on upgrade. It has a 1-turn cooldown. This is a much more impressive debuff. Unfortunately no combo, but it would be too OP with that added. An easy way to clear away pesky dodge tokens from the large variety of obnoxious dodge fights in the game, and makes it easy to one-hit most of those relatively lower HP foes with the Vuln added. It scales quite well into the most difficult fights in the game as well, especially with Ritualist, offering you 2 Vuln tokens and thus a boatload of damage. The biggest downside is simply that Aspirant is my favorite path and renders this skill unusable, but in any other scenario I'll slap this on my bar even if I'm not actually running a curse build because the utility is incredible. I slotted in the universally useful tier above Spaghetti. Binding Shadows is a front 3 to front 3 single target melee attack, dealing 3 to 6 damage, 4 to 8 on upgrade, with lower crit than Stab. It moves Occultist forward 1 and gives a power token on combo. The upgrade also adds a 50% chance of getting a power token on use. This is sort of an awkward skill, and a skill that is essentially useless without a mastery, though it becomes much more playable once upgraded. Occultist is an odd fit for most movement comps, and it's a bit obnoxious that he can't move back, often pushing him into rank 1 and locking him out of his best abilities. It's also weird it can't be used from the 4th rank, as that would enable more synergetic movement. It's just worse than Stab in most cases. Getting in power even with the Mastered Shadows this way is not the most convenient method. A handful of comps love this skill, but those are memeier comps that would still likely feel better with anything else. It's certainly solid, but frankly I put it even behind Wyrd. Now on to the Empower skills and enablers. First, Malediction, an any rank to any rank range attack and debuff that requires 2 Empower tokens. It does 1 to 2 damage, 2 to 3 on upgrade, and it applies a 3-turn debuff on the opponent, where each time the target is damaged, they randomly gain a 2-point dot of any type, which is unfortunately resistible. The upgrade also debuffs the enemy's dot resist by 20%. The biggest problem with this skill is everything can be resisted. Firstly, the debuff itself, which is already difficult to apply on bosses with high resist, and bosses are the only time this skill is remotely relevant. Then, all the dots can be individually resisted, which is slightly aided by the upgrade with its resist debuff, which again can be resisted. This is nothing more than a pure meme which can melt a boss in the right scenario, but most of the time you're just better off just doing something real with your empowerment. I have to toss it in the trash tier. Anamnesis is a full party melee AoE usable from the front row, dealing 1 to 2 damage, 1 to 3 on upgrade, and applying a 3-point bleed, 4 on upgrade. It requires 2 Empower tokens. Another pitiful meme, though slightly funnier than Malediction. Even with the Aspirant buff, this is just a joke that sort of melts trash mobs, but everything melts trash mobs, while being useless against every boss except the locks, where it graduates to terrible because at least it's AoE. If you fully commit to scaling and force the Shroud, it can occasionally do damage with a full boost, including the stupid bleed trophy, but this is just never worth it outside of meme runs. Again, it belongs in the trash, above Malediction at least. Burning Stars, aka Meatball of Doom, is a single target ranged nuke usable from the back 3 to any rank, doing 8 to 16 damage, 12 to 18 on upgrade, ignoring all block and adding a combo token. It requires 2 Empower tokens. One of the most consistent nukes in the game, it has very high scalable base damage, ignores block which is useful against a number of foes, and of course hits any rank, which makes it, along with Finale, among the most flexible nukes in the game. There's not a lot to say here. If you're playing with Empower at all, and you should be with the Occultist, slap this on your bar and let the Italian cuisine rain hell on your adversaries. Easily tops the OP tier as Occultist's only actual good attack. And finally we have the Enabler, Chaotic Offering. It's a buff usable from any rank. It will damage you 15% of your max HP, 10% on upgrade, and in return give you an immediate Empower token with an additional power token on the start of your next 3 turns. It will also apply a random side effect, ranging from burn to shuffle, weak, daze, taunt, stealth, and even stun. This is obviously the most consistent way to gain your Empower, but it comes at a steep cost, especially for your more fragile paths like Warlock. The Empower giving a chance of weak and stun especially is absolutely debilitating, since you're generally using this to activate your nuke, Burning Stars. It's really hard to rank this skill, since it absolutely sucks, but it's also necessary if you want to do real damage, or real anything with this mediocre hero. I guess it's universally useful, behind Spaghetti, but it's certainly not something I would call good. Overall, the Occultist has a variety of playstyles and accompanying skills, but his mediocre Empower generation and empowerment payoffs make him the overall weakest hero in the game. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, and join my Patreon or become a YouTube member for early access to my upcoming videos.